Welcome to the rundown. I see my co-host, not guest, co-host in the background. Um, how you doing, Sarah Bills?
Good. How are you?
Tough night, rough week, but I'm okay. I think I navigated some of it well, and other parts not too well. Um, I am going to be leaving this apartment, and I'm going to another apartment, which sucks. What I like to do is go somewhere and stay for like 2 or 3 months because it feels like you are there, like
hmm
it's space. Oh, I hate to have to I hate packing. I hate packing, and to do it like 7 days. It's been 7 days, and it's my birthday, no less.
Right. Happy
Right.
birthday.
Thank you. What's funny is you had your show, your birthday. You were here also, so
I was.
we're making it a yearly thing. It's every year. My birthdays are here. Um, but you're doing well. You. It's later in the evening for you as opposed to 6:30 in the morning. So I
Yeah.
think that's positive.
It's 5 p.m. here, so a normal-ish
Yeah.
time.
I see a lot of happy birthday wishes. Thank you, all of you, for your birthday wishes. It is deeply appreciated. It is early in the morning here, but it's okay. I used to do my show at 7 a.m. anyway, so I'm getting back into the feel of the 7 a.m. spot.
Get used to
Um,
it.
Yeah, I was used to it. I mean, that's why I started my show at 7 a.m. They tend to people like, dude, why is your show so early? It's like, "Dude, I did it for years." So it's like, you just, and if you're like in Europe, it's not too bad. It's like start at 1 p.m. end at 4, go have a cappuccino while you call your guests. It's nice.
You need to go back to Europe.
Europe is expensive. I mean, the entire point of this trip wasn't for it to be a trip. It was to save money. And so it's like, when the company went belly up, I found an apartment in Albania for $350. So I was like, oh, that's a deal. Transportation is cheaper. You get rid of your car, basically get rid of as many expenses as you possibly can. Then when I went to Malaysia, I was able to find something roughly the same. This one, I went overboard in trying to cut costs, and it's fucking me now. But nevertheless, it's fine. Now, the entire point of the trip was to save. It wasn't to travel. And I think it ended up being a little bit of both.
Well, then, win-win.
Win-win, yeah. It will be when I can take a hot shower at my new place. Yes. I screwed up booking this residence. Like, for one, they didn't have hot water, which that's my fault. No issue.
I don't mind that though.
Really?
I don't need hot water now.
I need hot water. That's modernity.
You're
You
in
know
like
what?
a tropical. Like I would be taking like 3 cold showers a day.
It could be 100 degrees outside, and that shower is going to be blisteringly hot. It's going to like peel my skin hot. I want to be clean. It's like I need to be clean. But you're right. It is a tropical climate. It's like 95 every day, give or take. I mean, even at night, it's like 80 something. So it's nice. It's not bad. I'm not complaining. I love the environment. I love being able to get on a motorcycle and just go from point A to point B.
Yeah, that
It's
rocks.
very, yeah, I love it. I love the prayers that take place in the morning. Um, I don't hate the place. It was just other issues that started to crop up, and I
Well, there's a
solved one
lot of
issue.
protests going on. Are you seeing any of that?
I got the alert from the U.S. Embassy saying,
Right.
"Hey, there are protests at the embassy. You might not want to be around this area."
Yeah.
But the people have been cool. I mean, I haven't seen any issues. Yeah, I haven't seen any issues so far. So good. Everything's been fine. It's different than Malaysia. It's more like Vietnam. Like Malaysia is very Americanish. I mean, not the way it looks. Like the people are gonna have their hijabs. Every so often, you have a woman in a burqa. You have Sikhs, Indians, etc. So you have this kind of interplay of religions and cultures that are there. But McDonald's, Burger King, Domino's, fast food, larger people. So people are.
Fat.
I'm not going to use that term. I'm going to say overweight, or very portly. I'll use the term portly. They're
Thicker.
portly. Here, it's not that way. Everybody's thin. Same thing in Vietnam. Most of the people are thin. Yeah, Malaysia was more comfortable, if that makes sense. It's going to take me a few days to get comfortable here. And the fact that I have to move is going to make it less so. However, food. Oh, the food. So I have to get doctor's visits periodically. And at one of the visits, they said, hey, would you like us to order you something? Now, I'm very choicy. So this is very dicey territory for me. And usually my answer is no. I was starving that morning. So I was like, yes, what do you have? She says, well, it's chicken and an egg. You can get beef. And I was like, okay, let's do fried chicken. Let's do an egg, etc. I don't eat eggs, but whatever.
Sure.
I devoured all of it. I killed it. And what they did was they bought it was like a barrel of rice, chicken, fried chicken with I don't know what it is. It's like almost like an egg loaf, like a fried egg loaf, almost like if you have meatloaf, but instead it was an egg that was fried with spices and everything else, and then kind of shaped into a loaf. And then it was banana skin that kind of covered all of it, a banana leaf.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. It was so good. And right now my stomach is like, dude, what have you eaten? What the hell are you eating? It's like, what are you eating? You don't eat eggs. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's freaking out. But no, I liked it so far. Like I said, the people are nice. I love what's the word for it? Grungier environments. I'm fine in those.
Me too. I prefer them.
I don't know if I prefer, but I can function in them well. I can translate to them well. It feels more real, if that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that, but that's the way it feels. It's like a realer feeling. That one's hard to explain, hard to break down. But I hope you're doing well. Did you have a good day so far?
Yeah, I haven't really done much today besides, nothing. Reporting on the news, I guess.
Well, you do that all day. That's just the day. All right. So we have stories. Now, we haven't talked about these stories in advance, so I'm going to let you do your stories because I have like 10.
No, you were supposed... If you have 10, then let's just do yours. They're probably overlapping anyway.
Well, that's my point. And because we didn't have a chance to talk, I want you to do yours, and I'll just piggyback with mine of the ones that don't overlap. At least that was my thought. I figured some would overlap. The ones that overlap, you can go first. That way, it's not a clash. The ones that don't overlap, I'll just do those.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can get.
And it's not, to be fair, it's not 10 stories that I wanted to do. It's like 3 each, but I had extra just in case. I had backup.
So the one thing that I really did want to talk about was this new app that got rolled out. I have a screen share on if you want to.
Please.
Put it up.
Right. Now, what is this?
So this is this new app that just rolled out. Okay. It's called Report It, and it is by the Combat Antisemitism movement.
Oh, Jesus.
So
oh, Jesus. I know this is
Combat Antisemitism movement launched a new app called Report It, which is designed to help users document anti-Semitic incidents in real time. What I did was I went through who is involved. And so it is a Kansas oil billionaire and Republican mega donor named Adam Barron. And so you can see here, he's with the mayor of Beverly Hills. And that's important for later, but this is from her Instagram. So I went through their partnerships. A lot of them are just shell companies that don't have anything backing them. It's who is behind the movement, who is CAM. The Combat Antisemitism movement presents itself as a global civil rights coalition, but it is not a movement. It's a centralized digital operation run by a U.S. nonprofit called the Combat Hate Foundation, which was created in 2019 with close ties to the Israeli state and political operatives. So they claim to have about 850 partners, but amongst those partners are famous like UN Watch, which is an Israeli biased think tank that basically tries to convince everybody that the UN is anti-Semitic. Right. Stand With Us, the Israeli Allies Foundation, stuff like that. So I looked into what he likes to fund. He has at least four foundations. two trust, a foundation, and two incorporations, and they funnel money to his Combat Antisemitism movement, which also funnels tons of money to Friends of the IDF, Chabad, and this Torah stone, which is something that trains. It's a foundation that trains settlers to be IDF soldiers. So $2 million to Chabad and almost $9 million to train Israeli settlers to be IDF soldiers. And on top of that, he was one of Trump's largest donors to Trump's inauguration. He also funded campaigns for people like Ron DeSantis, the RNC, Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, and Ron Estes. Excuse me. I looked into who they're tied to in the Israeli government, which is all of who you would expect: the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Strategic Affairs, Israeli embassies, and most importantly, they lobby governments and institutions to adopt the Israeli-backed framework, which is the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which redefines resistance as hate. Also, I wanted to point out that the same reverend, psycho-evangelical reverend that is on the board or the head of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which we've talked about together. Everybody's been talking about it. He's also on the board of this application, the company that owns this application. So that's kind of disquieting. Most of our listeners know who Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is. There's just, I didn't look into all of them, but just in the few that I looked into, they're all prior Israeli spies and ex-IDF commanders of the Hasbara unit, ex-senior officials in the Israeli government, ex-specialists in online Hasbara, just tons of IDF and sort of Israeli intelligence experience. So this reported app encourages people to tell on each other. But what it does is it scrubs all of the data from everything, and then it feeds them to corporations and other entities like the ADL, the AJC, that will go to Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and stuff like that to get people placed on lists and whatnot. In addition to this, I pointed out the mayor of Beverly Hills, because in the same week, she passed a bill in her jurisdiction that will make public schools raise the Israeli flag. So it's just this very interesting sort of takeover in all different sectors in this kind of web and network of people. While we have Bibi, and I have that video there, but while we have Bibi telling everyone that, the algorithm is anti-Semitic, we need to crack down on anti-Semitism online. Social media is, I forget what he said, but he said something like social media is, I don't remember, but we needed to police it, etc.
Yeah.
It's really getting incredibly absurd. But here, we could actually listen to this video. Let's see.
Oh, God.
Why not?
The creation of Breitbart News when you actually inspired the creation of Breitbart News when you were still in the opposition. Our founder, Andrew Breitbart, and our CEO, Larry Solov, met with you in Israel on a delegation of conservative journalists, and they walked outside and brainstormed the idea to create the company that is now Breitbart News and the giant, really, of conservative new media. So looking at Breitbart's growth, I should ask you, first of all, whether you anticipated when you planted that seed the fruits that would be harvested today, in a sense, in terms of transforming the American media and international news coverage.
Well, to be honest, no. But I was asked by Andrew Breitbart, what should we do about the cascade of lies in the mainstream media? And I said, tell the truth and broadcast the truth. And I didn't know that he'd walk out of that meeting and say, oh, that's what we're going to do. And that's what you proceeded to do. And I'm very glad that there's now at least some pluralism in the media and some ability to get other viewpoints and the facts out to people who are often, are lied to. That is important. We have now a different challenge, that you have the swamping of the social media with all sorts of algorithms that are rabidly anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli, and so on. So the battle for truth continues all the time.
So it's the algorithm that is anti-Semitic and must be rabidly anti-Semitic, not the court of public opinion, which I think is interesting. What are your thoughts?
For one, he's a criminal. There's that. Two, if you are in the process of murdering and starving 2 million people, if you have a government and society that shows somebody getting raped, gang raped by soldiers on TV, and the majority of the society agrees, like 60% says fair game, they should be able to rape people in this way. If you have soldiers who get their kicks murdering, starving people, then yeah, I would imagine that you may take issue with public opinion saying, we think those things are barbaric and we think you are a war criminal. This is not, and never has been about what's fair, what's right, what's honest, what's ethical, what's legit. It's always about power. And in this case, we want the capability of murdering and exterminating 2 million people, or at the very least, kicking them out of the space to which we want to take, and we want to create greater Israel. And in order to do that, we need to have a media that A, doesn't report it, and B, acts as if a starving child that looks like a ghostly skeleton has cerebral palsy, as opposed to being starved to death. That's what I think. I think he's a disgusting human being. He's a complete degenerate. And every time he talks, he lies through his teeth. Breitbart News is, the notion of calling that news is absurd. And it gives more context to how Breitbart was started, that you had somebody who's that much of a degenerate to effectively start it. The level of mendacity that comes out of Netanyahu's mouth. If you remember back in Congress 20 years ago, he was holding the picture of a bomb saying Iran is going to have this 5 minutes. And he has done that every year since. He lies as easily as he breathes. To call Trump a habitual liar is nothing on Netanyahu. And so I'm not shocked by that. The catch becomes whether or not this thing ever becomes a thing. I mean, it's effectively a Stasi. But who are you telling on? You see what is the thought? You have a college campus. Somebody yells at a Jewish student or Zionist, let's say a Zionist. And what do? Go to their app and say, hey, somebody yelled at me? Like, what am I missing here? I get that they want eyes all over the globe, and I get they want to take all of these people's information and put it into a database. But to what end is the part that I'm kind of missing? If there is no hate crime, then who are the people reporting? Or is the app being used as a stalking horse for something else? I don't have an answer for that. That's what I'm asking.
We don't know. It's like, okay, we're going to get into predictive policing, and it's like, okay, well, for what? Okay, we're going to start really cracking down on language. Okay, and then what? Are the people are they going to jail? Like, there's no, what are the mechanisms to sort of discipline these people? Or, it's very strange. And it's not really even like legal repercussions. They kind of just look and see what they can take from you. Can I get you removed from school? Can I get, do you have a visa? I can get you kicked out of the country. It's very bizarre. It's very strange while they sort of get these mechanisms in there. And the reason why I did the thread is because it all ties right back into the anti-Semitism task force, which is inside the White House, which has Jonathan Greenblatt on the board, sort of advised. Yeah, and it's just like, so we have, and I'll just use social media as an example because the app makes it really easy to report social media. But say somebody reports me something or gets taken out of context or whatever, and it gets sent up. There's not going to be a thorough investigation to see whether or not I said this thing or in what context. They're just going to take it as some sort of anti-Semitism strike, and then you get put into some other thing like Esther or Lavender or something like that. You get moved into these other things where you're sort of tracked, and you already know that they track people like us anyway. But like it just starts to build these sorts of roll calls. Like, what are these Rolodexes? What kind of categories are these people being put into, and for what? And since the people that are holding the levers of power that categorize people are Jonathan Greenblatt, is kind of terrifying.
For one, they're anti-American. Two, I mean, like, this is radically anti-American. Like, any way you look at it, the idea that you're going to raise a foreign flag in an American school is outrageous. Like, that is beyond outrageous. And you would think that people in that school board would flip the F out. Like, you would think the parents would flip out. You would think other Americans would flip out. The idea that you have people who are dual citizens in Congress or dual citizens anywhere else is outrageous. They should not be in any level of government, just as a rule, and not just for Israel, for any particular country. Like, all of this stuff is outrageous in the way that they're effectively acting. And again, it's radically treasonous in the realest sense of the word. And so I suspect that part of what they want is an army, maybe not even the reporting part, because the reporting part is just weird. It's like, hey, Sarah said I was a killer and a murderer.
Right.
You are a killer and a murderer.
Right.
And you back that genocide. But what may be more important is for them to have the person who's doing it, meaning the person who's reporting. Like, if you get 1 million people, 1 million lunatics and goofballs who sign up for the applications like, I'm going to be eyes for the Jewish state,
right,
or I'm going to be eyes for the Zionist state, or whatever, that may be more important than anybody that you're reporting. I mean, who the hell like, Bob Cobb called me a bad name. Okay. Who the hell is Bob Cobb?
I mean, this is what I said the other day. I was in a conversation. I was like, it feels like it's so incremental and like slight that it just feels like a whole united front of like 100 people, and each one just kind of pushes their piece along just a little bit more, like in whatever sector they're working in. So it's the flag in Beverly Hills, it's the unrated bonds in Florida, it's the ADL app online, it's the ADL task force in the White House. It's all these sort of little pushing the envelope just a little further, and soon it's going to be off the edge, but nobody's going to notice it because it's so incremental and slight, and there's so many other things going on that most people in Delaware aren't going to be concerned with flags in a public school in Beverly Hills. So it's very eerie, and sort of you got to like look, you got to search to find it almost.
It is coordinated though.
Oh, for sure.
This is all coordinated.
100%.
I mean, they need to control the narrative. That's what it boils down to. And it's like, hey, man, it seems that most Americans don't like us murdering babies. I mean, they can't understand how dangerous these babies are. So we need to find a way to convince Americans that these babies are really dangerous. It's that, right? Or at the very least, hide the fact that you're murdering babies. Hide the fact that you're starving all of these people. We need to change. We are going to do what we do. And we realize that we've become pariahs. We get that. We've lost the propaganda war on this. But we need to do something, because we still need to do what we do. And we have all of these European states now with the leaders. That part is interesting too. I don't believe for a moment that the European leaders care about all of these people being murdered in Gaza.
No.
I think the issue is our public is against this now. And so we have to feign ignorance like Joe Biden did, where Joe Biden was like, I'm doing everything I can. I don't like this. This sucks. And then you find out later, they're like, thank God Joe Biden was president as we were murdering all of these people, because Joe Biden didn't stop us from doing anything. I think it's that for the European leaders. They just realize that the populations have turned against this particular issue. They don't like the fact that there's a genocide happening on their watch, with them effectively assisting Israel in doing it. And so, look, I agree with you. It's sinister. But I got to be honest. I'm getting to the point where I feel like if Americans don't care, then they get what they get. I mean, it's a country is not just a thing that operates on its own. I'm even getting to the point of believing that Dune was right, that countries require something more than just the political system. It almost requires a religion. And I don't mean religion in a traditional sense of worshiping Jesus or Allah or anything like that, but a guiding objective, something. Because otherwise, falters, like the U.S.'s. Like the U.S.'s guiding thing is capitalism. But that's not necessarily inclusive. That's something where it accumulates cash.
Well, capitalism in and of itself is destructive. It's that's its natural life cycle. So we were seeing it now. Yeah,
that's my point. Sure. Like the democracy has been eaten alive by the capitalistic part.
Sure, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so it's like the public is so disengaged, like extraordinarily so, like radically so. Where I was having this conversation with Danny Haiphong, and we were talking about this notion of the Palestinian resistance. And I was pointing out to him, I was like, dude, I think people care in abstract, but are they willing to lose their jobs over it? Or are they willing to set themselves on fire for it? Those are different things. Like me, and it's not even like the civil rights movement here or the Iraq war here, where you have caskets coming back, where the White House was trying to control the narrative and not show the caskets coming back because, it's representative of the dead Americans that you got killed by sending them into Iraq in the first place. This is more diffuse. We prefer you don't commit a genocide. It's that, which is very different than stop this war now. Those are two very different energies. And I don't know how it translates into any kind of political action in the real sense of the term, given Netanyahu, and for the matter, Trump, impunity. That sucks to say and it's cynical, but I think it's true. Give me your thought on that, by the way. Do you think my point of view on that is wrong? Do you think Americans are more engaged than what I think they are?
No, I agree. I think you're absolutely right. I was actually just reading a poll. Now it's Harvard Harris, so some people don't like Harvard Harris, but it's legit. Anyway, I actually have it open, so let me find it. Most voters continue to support Israel over Hamas. Nearly 6 in 10 want Hamas to exit Gaza completely as a condition. Most voters believe there is a famine in Gaza, but they believe that Hamas is responsible. So
how is Hamas responsible for what's wild? Even McCain's wife, warmonger's wife, comes out and says Hamas had nothing to do with the famine. Israel was paying gangs in order to steal that food and then blame it on Hamas.
But what I'm trying to exhibit is that they don't care. It's not even changing public opinion that much.
See, they use the term Hamas. If they said Palestinians, it'll be different. I could be wrong.
Even majority of voters support providing both offensive and defensive aid to Israel. 78% of voters support Israel over Iran. And most voters continue to support stopping Iran's nuclear program.
Who the fuck are they? Like, who the fuck are they? Like, this is the British thing, right? This is the imperial thing, where that mindset seeps into the brains and the minds of people, where it's like, yeah, we need to go somewhere else and stop somewhere else from getting nukes. Dude, the batshit crazy genocidal terrorists that are rampaging all throughout the Middle East have nukes that are undeclared. It's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Who the fuck are you? That's an astonishing thing for me. Honestly, this was the thing that pissed me off about Ritter. To be honest, this is how that happened. Because Ritter went on a video, I think it was with Glenn Deason, and he says, well, America's America, Iran is Iran, and so if we tell them to do it, they should do it. And I flipped out. It's like, who the F are you? How are you telling another country that they shouldn't have nukes? And not just that, this has nothing to do with nukes. That's the other part. Like, that is a frustrating poll. I hate that poll. I hate that poll.
Or the Israel-Hamas conflict. Do you support more Israel or more Hamas? 74% Israel.
Those people, I would wager to you, know nothing about the Nakba.
But that's the thing, right? They still don't know, and they still don't care enough to know.
They know dick about dick. But it's like, how do you know how do you
care about what you don't know?
Yeah, it's that part, right? You're not going to learn it in school. The propaganda that you get is not going to enforce it. So anything that's going to come out of media is going to be very specific to an American point of view, an American perspective, even when that American perspective is completely ludicrous. Like, I always say on the radio station, a contact lens for the American perspective, because of shit like this. That poll sucks. And those people are idiots. Like, just that poll sucks, and those people are idiots. I just go there because otherwise I just have curse words. Speaking of that, by the way, Iran is pulling out of the nuclear proliferation treaty.
Maybe.
Congratulations.
I thought they would have yet to vote on it.
They do have to vote on it. But considering they went begging to the European Union to do something that the European Union didn't want to do, or let's say, what is it, Britain, France, and Germany, I believe. And they applied snapback sanctions. They didn't care, despite the fact that, again, Iran stuck with the JCPOA. The U.S. pulled out of the JCPOA, and they blamed, of course, Iran. When Iran gets attacked in the middle of negotiations, they, of course, blame Iran. And the IAEA, after Iran is attacked, of course, they didn't condemn the attack. So it's like, dude, you are dealing with people who are never going to treat you fairly. Like, this is always the argument I have with people when they're like, well, they're trying to get political credibility. I was like, do you honestly think that Iran, China, Russia, Venezuela, North Korea is ever going to get a good headline in the United States? Short of Putin falls off the roof of the Kremlin. And it was a sunny day. That may be the best line that you ever get, right? So it's like, why bother? Why? It's like, why do you care about getting a good headline in the West? Do you, boo? Do what you got to do.
Right.
Like, it is so frustrating to me because I feel like you went begging to vassal states who were never going to treat you fairly. And you were always going to end up in a position that you're in now where you're like, we're pulling out an NPT. And Russia could say, well, this shows that they are a good actor on the world stage. Fuck that. It's not about that. Like, we are well beyond this idea of international law. We're well beyond this notion of we're going to be legitimate actors. Defend your country. You are about to get attacked. Full stop. The Russian embassy is apparently pulling its people out. America apparently is pulling its people out of. America is apparently pulling its people out of what's the place called? I'm sorry. America's pulling its people out of Iraq. And so something is up. And the belief is that an attack is imminent. Gallant, if I'm not mistaken, came out and said there's going to be another round of attacks against Iran. And my thing is, if Iran knows that, why is Iran waiting? I'm asking you, should they preemptively attack? Oh, wait, Sarah, can you hear me?
I would preemptively attack, but that's really not Iran's style. I also want to point out to people that for everyone who says the Ayatollah is the supreme dictatorial leader, well, then why the hell would they have? The Ayatollah would have never let the IAEA back in to inspect the nuclear sites. So let's just put that to rest. Secondly, on the 18th of April, I think it was, the Tehran Times printed that the IAEA chief, let me see if I can find the headline. It was pretty serious. I mean, this was back in spring. They said that the IAEA was basically trading false reports for a nomination to the UN Secretary General. So on April 18th, Tehran Times revealed that Britain, France, and Germany promised Rafael Grossi the UN Secretary General post in exchange for IAEA reports against Iran, reports that paved the way for war. That same week, the IAEA issued its most hostile assessment of Iran's nuclear program. And then on yesterday, Grossi declared that he wanted to be the UN Secretary General. So
they should have never let him back in the country.
I don't know why they let him back in.
But that's my issue with them, right? It's like you are about to get attacked. You know you're about to get attacked. All signals indicate you're about to get attacked. And you wait. And it's like, what are you waiting for? I mean, is it just the right of imperial nations to attack? Is that what it is? that the U.S. and Israel can attack whoever they want, but Iran, Russia, all these other countries can't. I think that's nonsense. I think that's nonsense. I agree with you. It's not their style, but their style, forgive the harshness, got nearly 1,000 people killed, if not more, in that last attack, because they just waited.
Well, I mean, there were those enormous strikes on Yemen on Thursday on the Capitol, and the news came out today. Let me get their names so I don't. Yemen, the entire cabinet and the prime minister. Yep. So, I think that's really the story of the week. Okay, good. So we're overlapping. Good. So I hate that Toss calls them Houthis, but whatever. But yeah, that's technically their entire government for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a nuclear power doing a decapitation attack on a country, not on a non-state actor, on a country that was a prime minister. So what are we doing here? This is terrifying. And then the reason why I segued to that is because you were asking about Iran and a preemptive strike, and it's like, well, look at the headlines. I'm still fully convinced that Raisi and my beloved foreign minister, whom I still can't pronounce his name, but they were definitely killed. That was not a freak accident. Okay? They were, and you're like, what are we doing here? We're just watching. I feel like we're just spectators all the time.
Well, justice is saying international law. I keep saying international law doesn't exist. You're in the law of the jungle.
No, none. I can't see the chat, so you have your settings weird.
Oh, you can't see the chat?
Mm-mm.
I can show comments on stage, but sometimes people get. Can you see it now?
Mm-hmm. But I can't see it I can't see it in the chat block either. I can only see our private studio chat.
Do you have a thing on the side called comments?
No, I only have the studio chat.
What?
Yeah, I don't have the big one. The live chat, I don't have that. Anywho, it doesn't really matter.
I don't know how to give you that. I mean, I thought it was just kind of, it came with it. From my point of view, Iran should preemptively strike. And I get that they want to have a political win. They want the moral high ground. I get all of that stuff. The last time that Israel struck, they tried to take out the government of Iran also. They went after the Ayatollah, saying if we could guide him, we would have killed him. They went after, what is his name? The one that they deride and call a spy, the president, Pezeshkian, which I don't even know why you go after Pezeshkian. He's your best friend. He's like, that's our inside guy. Keep that guy alive at all costs. But they're not going to do it. They're going to absorb the blow and they're going to respond, assuming that they will be able to respond in their minds with enough force to effectively win and succeed. But I don't know. I don't get this. We're going to fight a moral war. Dude, you're not going to get a good headline. And maybe it's not for the headline. Maybe it's for a religious tradition or something like that. I don't know. But what I see is them taking out one by one by one the things that you call resistance and your buffers.
Yeah.
Up to the point where they got to you.
They tell us, they were saying we're going after the head of the octopus and we'll go one by one by one if we have to. They've taken out Hamas leadership. The beeper attack. Nasrallah is dead. Iran's leadership is dead. Tons of their scientists are dead. Now Ansarallah, all of the Yemeni cabinet is dead, and the rest of them have fled. They're telling you what they're going to do. I don't understand why we don't ever listen to them. We're always like, nah, they can't or they won't. They are, and they're gonna if you do not do something about it.
Yeah, I firmly believe them. When they said it, it's funny. I used to have all these military guys on, and they would be like, "Yeah, I don't think Israel would attack. It wouldn't be rational to do so." And I was like, "Why do you think they have acted with impunity? What part of impunity do you think stops them from doing exactly what they said they wanted to do?"
That's usually
And so-
where the conversation ends. I always just say, who's going to stop them?
Right. It's like, well, nah, they can't commit a genocide.
Oh,
Why not?
they
Why not?
can't?
It's like, why not? What stops them? There's no Leviathan. No God is going to get involved. Those people just die. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you on this. I don't. Do you think it's an issue of weakness? Do you think
Political
that's
will.
what it is?
Political will.
Oh, so you don't think it's military weakness? It's just they don't have
On
the
whose part?
Iran's.
Oh, no. No, I don't think it's military weakness. I think it's political will. I think they're militarily strong.
That makes it worse. That just makes it worse.
They might be hesitant. They have a lot of internal issues, but I don't think that they're militarily weak.
I think.
But I mean, they have to figure out. They have to see that the writing's on the wall. I mean, even today, Jolani forces kidnapped and killed an Iranian journalist on purpose. They sought him out and they did it. That's a message. These are messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Trump corridor deal, which really hasn't even gone through yet. That's a message. I don't know why Iran. I mean, I hope they can see that they're on their way to isolating you, and they'll kill you too if they can.
I keep making the point that says every action that they've taken in order to stave off a war has effectively caused the war. And if everything that you've done up to this point has led you to disaster, maybe you should do something else.
Exactly.
Now they would say, but you don't have any skin in the game. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But what I just said is true. Like every action that you've taken has just been looking at as weakness, passivity.
You just have to ask yourself, what's the priority here? Is it survival? Okay, then say that, and we'll just do what we can to survive and try to make the war as minimal as possible. Or is it something else? Is there a goal? What is the goal here? Right? Like we know that for most Palestinians, or for at least for Hamas, it's resist or literally or die. Like most Palestinians still don't even want to leave. Like some do, of course. But a lot would rather just die on their land, like that. Then that's the decision that we know. Is that how Iran feels, or is it just about surviving and kind of getting through this because they're a sovereign nation state? So, I mean, I don't know what the goal is though. They're never going to be the friends of the West because the West always need an axis of evil, and Iran has been in it since the 50s. So that's just a fact of life for now. For the foreseeable future, they will always be an antagonist to America. So what's the goal?
And they need to internalize that. Sanctions aren't going anywhere. None of these things are going anywhere. And it's almost like you have to internalize it. Like Russia had to internalize it, right? Like what? Like 90,000 sanctions on Russia?
Yes, they won the sanction race, yeah.
All right, what's your next story?
That's it. I'm done. Your stories are now.
Really? That's it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'll go with this one. A Nazi was shot in Lvov.
Oh, yeah, Lvov. Yeah, let's talk about it. Well,
Nazi was shot in Lvov.
Let's all shed a tear. Oh, also, guess what? It's your birthday. It's also Lukashenko's birthday. So happy birthday. Yes. You are birthday twin Lukashenko. I am birthday twin Nikola Tesla. We have great birthday twins. Okay.
Are you? Interesting. So,
yeah, we do have this guy. That was what the news that I woke up to. So
yeah, his name's hard to pronounce. It's
Andrei Parubi. Yeah. Okay. So he is a far right politician. Very interesting. So people are kind of just referring to him as like Zelensky's opposition. It's obvious that Zelensky probably had him killed, but let's talk about who he is really.
Wait, is he really Zelensky's opposition? The guy was head of the Maidan and stuff like that. Like he
right. But apparently, like now they're not friends. So in 1991, he co-founded the Social National Party of Ukraine. So the Social National Party of Ukraine. So the National Socialist, the Nazi Party of Ukraine.
Nazis, right.
He led the paramilitary youth wing, which was called Patriot of Ukraine. Those were the people that did the torch marches and the violent activism.
By the way, sorry to interrupt real quick. Trigger warning for people. This is him getting whacked. This is making the war brighter.
They in 2004, the SNPU actually transformed into the Svoboda Party, which most people know as the far right party that actually gained legitimacy in in the Rada. He obviously was involved in Maidan. There are reports that say he was a commandant of Independence Square and helped to organize and direct self-defense units, and also he was in command of some of the snipers.
Yes.
He was Secretary of National Security and Defense Council in 2014, and he authorized the attacks on the Donbass. And then we found out later that he actually participated in the Odessa massacre. So he was there, I guess, acting as a provocateur. He organized the delivery of armed nationalist militants to the location in Odessa that day and oversaw their coordination. So very
not a good guy.
No.
He was not a good guy. He has a lot of blood on his hands, and he was rabidly racist. And the video, apparently people are saying that this didn't seem like a professional hit because apparently the person put 8 bullets in him. Which typically 2 would have done. But yeah, somebody said the tree spared a lot. Yeah, the tree got in the way. And that's, I suppose, person running away after the kill. Let's see this one more time.
Why is that person running like that?
I was wondering that myself. Like if it was
like,
an
are they old? Are they like decrepit? They walk weird. They walk like a Charlie Chaplin movie.
8 shots. And then old man run.
Yeah, look at it. It's an old guy.
Now, the catch becomes, why did they whack him?
Well,
now, it's
pick a reason.
Exactly, right? It's like, it could have been for the massacre, meaning the person could have been pro-Russian. It could have been a person in Ukraine who is like, this is what you've done to our country. The sniper thing is interesting. I don't think people realize. So one of the things that really provoked the overthrow of Yanukovych was the murder of all of those people with snipers on the rooftops. And initially they said, well, these are government snipers. Okay, well, they weren't government snipers. They were obviously fascists. They were taking shots at the people, effectively saying we need like 100 dead in order to overthrow the government or some insane thing like that. That guy was a nut job. And he was a horrible, horrible psychopath. And so, as I often say about psychopaths, the world has become a little bit brighter. It shines a little bit brighter in space with his head hitting the floor and his heart stopping, full of all of that good lead. They haven't got the person, by the way.
It's fine. I'm not upset over it.
Yeah, neither am I. It's just interesting.
Zelensky is denying it. I mean, Russians should
denying it. It's on TV.
The Russians should just take credit.
Oh, you think that they had him assassinated? So that was one of the other interesting thoughts, right?
I think Zelensky had him assassinated, and we'd have to look at his popularity inside of Ukraine. Zelensky will have all of his opposition that is even seen in any way, shape, or form positively by the Ukrainian people. He will have them assassinated, or this could have just been like some lone wolf old guy whose son got taken to the war or something. You know, it could be, it could be a partisan, or it could be anything, really.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, that's the wild part. There's so many people that could be on that list. I mean, the other part is Russia. One of the things that Ukraine was doing was effectively using civilians to carry out killings. Like they would be talking to people. They would have these kind of people within Moscow, and they would get these people to do X or Y. It could be that, but that doesn't seem like Russia's style per se, at least not up to this point in the conflict.
No, Russia wouldn't have killed him. They would have taken him. They want to take all of the people involved in the Odessa massacre to trial.
That's right, because he has charges on his head. He has charges on his head. So that's just fascinating. The guy was head of parliament. He's a member of the Rada and just gone. And then my other thought was, if this is an old guy doing this, is that a foment for social unrest? Like, is that a pretense for?
I'd have to look at this guy particularly and what his like political like career is, and what his like the sentiment is. Like, I don't know. I don't know enough about the guy.
Yeah. I just, when it happened, I just saw all of the information dump associated with him. One of the other things, and 2 last stories. Domestic news, social media. David Pakman. So I don't know if you've heard this. Recently, was it Wired? I think it might have been Wired magazine or one of the other magazines.
Oh, the payments to the DNC influencers?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know this particular guy, but I did see him complaining on Twitter, and I was like, okay, the whole thing is silly.
Yeah, he was bitching on Twitter. So in a nutshell, a DNC group or a group closely linked to the DNC with the notion of getting more Democrats in office created a slush fund that could effectively pay influencers.
Okay.
Now, the influencers would say, well, we're not working for the DNC. We're not getting money from the DNC. You're getting money from a DNC-aligned group where apparently they were having meetings. They weren't supposed to disclose, like all of this stuff. And they wouldn't have been talking about it had it not been disclosed by the reporter that wrote that story. Pac-Man, who was one of these people getting, let's say, $8,000 a month, which...
Well, I would love to get 8,000.
Man, who you telling? That is like radio station money. But what's wild about that, though, is for Pac-Man, it may be small change for him. I mean, Pac-Man has had a show longer than I have. And Pac-Man is, I mean, maybe 500,000, if not 1 million viewers. Like, he brings in a huge amount of money as is. So $8,000 is not a huge amount of money for him. But if roles were reversed, and we were talking about Tim Pool, or we were talking about anybody else, and it was outed, I would wager to you Pac-Man would be doing a video screaming to high heaven, this is outrageous. This is, indecent. I can't believe that they're taking money behind the scenes and not telling anybody about it. So Pac-Man comes out bitching on Twitter. This is 34 seconds clip with him complaining about being outed. And me don't think the lady protests far too
much. To fund it's for years I've been saying the left needs to organize independent media in the way that the right has been doing. The left needs to fund independent creators the way that the right does. The right has won even arguably presidential elections because they're organized with regard to online and independent media. They're killing us. We've been so behind. And this kind of support for creators is exactly what I've been advocating for.
A few thoughts, Sarah, and I'm going to bring
First of all, nobody wants to watch liberal or left-wing streamers, okay? They're so boring.
Right there.
Like,
right there.
I'm sorry, I'm not on either side, and if even from like an entertainment standpoint, nobody wants to watch you. DNC streamers. Like, I would rather go watch a straight up MAGA shill than like any of this crap. Like, it's slop. It's like platitude slop. Sorry.
What they
don't,
you're absolutely right. What they don't get is that some things are kind of contradictions. Like something like, it's like, we want Joe Rogan. We need a liberal Joe Rogan. There is no such thing as a liberal Joe Rogan.
No.
Because Joe Rogan, I mean, like the qualities that make you who
Joe
you are.
Joe Rogan was a liberal. Remember?
He was going for Bernie.
Yeah,
he's
you guys
he's
put that away. Like, all
he's a Bernie guy.
Half the streamers are popular because they switched sides or they saw the light or had an epiphany.
But they didn't switch sides. That's the part. Like, meaning Joe Rogan is not a right winger. They make him out to be one, though. He's just the guy. He's the dude. And there's some things that he agreed with. Like, he was like, hey, why do we have all these poor people? Why are we fighting all of these wars? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
I mean, but they've put him in a box as if Joe Rogan is a right winger. No, he's not. Theo Vaughn, I believe his name is. He's a right winger. Is he for real?
Well, he had dinner with Ivanka and Kushner. I think safe to say he's a right winger.
That's true, but is it because the liberals are so repellent?
That's what I'm saying. That could still be true.
Yeah.
Because like they really are. You're like, I can get some of my, like, if you're an actual like a real like a international, from the international Overton window, a leftist or on the far like militant left, which is kind of where I would maybe put myself. Like, there's nowhere for you in DNC. You get more of your populist policies and stuff that you want when on the right. Like, why
No.
why I would gravitate way more toward MAGA if I was forced to choose a side here. You're not getting anything besides like corporatism and like DEI crap, like inclusivity and identity politics. What are they offering me from a populist or from a working class lens? Literally nothing. At least the right sometimes panders to the working class. The left can't even be bothered doing that. That's a whole other conversation. But these people are so insufferable. And then he was begging for subscribers today on Twitter. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like,
You're making my point. They want two things that don't exist together. It's like I want to. It's like I want to be close to somebody, but I also want my freedom. It's like, dude, you can't do both. You got to pick one.
right. And it's
Both things are
fine to be a paid
irreconcilable.
influencer. Like, that's fine. But don't get like indignant about it when it's found out. Like, there are paid shills everywhere. Like,
But see, therein lies the rub. The issue is not that he was getting money from the DNC. The issue is it wasn't disclosed. Like, if I'm working for Sputnik, I'm working for Sputnik, right? It's like the label is there already. You can make your own judgments about my own point of view in regards to what comes out. But the label is there. He's working as a shill for the DNC. And I would argue, and for the longest time, I've called these people Democratic adjacent. I've always called them Democratic adjacent because they've always seemed to just echo whatever's coming out of MSNBC or the Democratic Party, Democratic elect. So it's not shocking he's getting paid for it. But dude, as you point out, don't be indignant when it's found out and it seems like you are hiding this from your audience. Don't get indignant about it. It is what it is. I'm going to read you something else because you're perfectly right. The issue with Democrats are Democrats. It's this bubble of moral superiority that doesn't comport with reality. It's this idea of, you're getting my pronouns wrong. It's like, dude, I may make a mistake. I couldn't tell. I'm sorry. I didn't know which way you were going with this. Like, it's all of these things that human beings and regular people don't engage in that the Democratic Party does. Trans kids, I'm sorry, it's weird to me. And I think for most Americans, the idea of, a person who can't even vote, can't even drink alcohol, but can chop off their ding dong is outrageous. Like, but they would support these things. They would fight for these things. And then when you're like, let's fight for, increasing minimum wage, they give lip service, but they're not going to do it. They're never going to do it. Hey, let's fight for universal health care. They give lip service, but they're never going to do it. Meaning the actual things that people on the left and even many of the people in the Democratic Party want are off the table. And the only thing you get is this identity shit that is done entirely in order to avoid the actual reality of the real world policies that people actually want. So no, we'll talk about identity because identity is close to you. We believe that this is a political leverage that we can use. You like being Black, you like being Hispanic, you like being whatever. So we're going to fight for those things in lieu of the real opportunities. So look at me put this hermaphrodite Black person in this position. Are you not entertained that I put her in this position? Does it have anything to do with my actual life? No. And therein lies the rub. And that became brimmingly clear when Sanders ran. And it's like, this guy is the literal representation of everything you've been screaming to us that you represent. And you did everything in your power to cheat him out of that race. So it's that. I want to read this this part of this clip. I don't even know where this came from. I think this might be Ezra Klein or something like that. But it says, the Democrats do not have a young voter problem, nor do they have a Latino voter problem, a working class voter problem, or a male voter problem. The Democratic Party's poor performance with various demographics can be traced to an underlying cause. The Democrats have a Democrat problem. With exception, the party is composed of officials, staffers, pundits, donors, politicians who do not believe in politics, at least not in the literal sense of the word. While the parties try to build support in turning the constituent wishes into policy, the Democrats take the opposite approach. The political objective is determined by wealthy party and media leaders, who then try to convince the constituents that their elite decreed platform is in their interests. This was best illustrated by the concluding chapters of Abundance, which outline a top-down political theory that politics are decided by the donor class and that the job of Democratic-aligned media, including Pacman, is to sell the policies to the American voter. Basically, we will decide and we will convince you. Okay, how has that worked out? How has that worked out? Do you think that the party, how do you think they can fix this and right the ship? If you think the ship can be righted at all?
But I don't think that any of the ships can be righted.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of these conversations lately. I go through, I'm a bit of a black pillar, but even other people are now being like, I think we just got to let it kind of run its course. There's people that are literally like, you got to start prepping because things are about to get really crazy, and you're not going to make it if you don't, like, it's not like end of the world, like doomsday preppers. It's like we're preparing for this crazy technocratic takeover, and there's nothing we can do to stop it anyway. It's just it's crazy. I don't think that either of the parties are worth saving, and I don't even know that they can be saved, and I don't know that there's any point. Like, what's the point now? Like, for what? We're already so far gone down this rabbit hole of this sort of, I don't even know if it's fascism. It's more like state capitalist, I don't know, technocratic takeover.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it would be much different besides it have been a little bit slower under the Democrats.
Have you ever read Peter Turchin's book, I think it's called End of Democracy or End of, I need to find that book. It talks about exactly this, the situation that we're in now. And the end times, that's what it's called.
End times? Okay, I see it.
Okay. Have you ever read that book?
No, I'm going to grab it though.
One of my audience members said, dude, you got to get this book.
Okay.
I consumed that book in 2 days.
Okay.
That book is exactly my thoughts on, look, I'm an engineer at heart. And to me, this stuff is all technical. And that you create a society in a way that makes sense and that logical, in which can perpetuate itself. But this society can't do that. Like, and Turchin goes into the details of previous societies that were very similar, that collapse. And he makes the argument, basically, you get a society where you have too many elites. Those elites create this kind of condition of an immiseration of the working class and the poor. So you have a few people on top. Everybody else is poor. There is no connection between this poor population and these abundance of elites, or too many. I think he called it a wealth pump. The elites are pulling wealth and money from the poverty or from the poor class and middle class. And you get semi-elites who want to break into the elite circle, but can't because there's no more room for these elites. And he makes the point of saying these semi-elites are some of the most dangerous people in a society, because what they're going to do is harness the masses to create a revolution and overthrow whatever that system is, which creates political chaos. And he goes from country after country after country all throughout history showing the exact same effect taking place. He even points out that the only reason it didn't happen in the 30s was because FDR had the New Deal, meaning it was a course correction. He says this takes place about every 200 to 300 years, depending on the society. Societies where they have multiple wives, it happens faster because you have more elites in those societies. Every kid you have is an elite, in which case it speeds up the process. But he points out America is on its way. We are dead headed for it. And all of the cues are being hit. So many elites, but no political solution to the item that you point out. Both political parties are trash. It's going to fall at some point. It will collapse. And by the way, I know this sounds bad, but the world will be better for it.
I think
America's
so.
not been a good actor in this global stage.
It's going to suck.
It will suck, but I don't know the alternative. Like, it's not like you have rational actors. Like that poll that you gave early on, where it's like Americans sitting in bumfuck Alabama or somewhere. It's like, yeah, we need to stop Iran from getting nukes. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Does the guy even know the history between the U.S. and Iran? But he has very strong opinions about what the U.S. should do. Should the U.S. use military forces to do it? Yeah, well, maybe. Why not? Why not? It's okay. We'll do a strike. They won't respond. It's like these are the people who have all of this radical confidence that is completely untethered to any kind of reality at all. It's astonishing. The Brits were like that, where the Brits, it's the white man's burden. The sun will never set on the British Empire. It's our burden to take over the world and keep the world up for modernity. It's like, dude, you guys were killers on a massive effing level. And it seems that we have been infected with that imperialist logic also. I don't know. I don't know how do you get rid of that thinking process? I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do it. So yes, it will suck. It will suck. By the same token, other countries that we effectively give all that money to. I mean, think of it like the Soviet Union when the Soviet Union fell. All of the things that they were putting money into, this kind of, speaking of ideologies. I had this conversation with Dan Kovalik, and Dan made the point of saying most of the countries that work now are realist countries, Russia, China, Iran, etc., which is exactly why they don't get involved in the Gaza issue. They're realists. What's in our best interest? The U.S. and the West have become unrealistic, delusional even, in the way that they effectively operate around the globe. And so they will push in Russia. There's a rationality to it, but ultimately they're losing in that context. Their societies are being gutted because of their losing, and yet they keep going with this kind of wishful thinking that they're going to topple Russia. But he was pointing out that, when the Soviet Union was in effect, they had that sort of idealist mindset in regards to this kind of socialist revolutionary fervor, where they were true believers in this idea of spreading this kind of communism or socialism across the globe and this fellowship. And he was pointing out when that went by the wayside, we lost something. And that BRICS is not a representation of that under any circumstances. BRICS is like a trade union.
Mm-hmm.
Ideology is different.
Yes,
Like,
correct.
Yeah. All right, Sarah, I get the feeling that you're like, all right, dude, let's wrap this up.
No, you have one more story. What is it?
Well, I don't want to keep you if you don't want to be here.
What are you talking about? I thought we had 2 hours.
We do have 2 hours. Okay. Sometimes I can't read you. That's all.
Nobody can.
That doesn't really help me. There's this sometimes I can't.
What's your next story? Is it on this topic? Because if not, where are we going next? Because I have another topic too. Kind of wanted your thoughts on Venezuela.
Oh, okay. Go to your topic. I do have one on Trump. Okay. I think Trump is in a box, and I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
Russia is pounding the hell out of Ukraine right now.
Oh yeah. That was one of my stories as well. They just did a huge strike package last night.
Yes, several chemical missiles, of course, UAVs, et cetera, et cetera. They have fundamentally decided we're going to win this on the battlefield because negotiations are going nowhere. And I don't think negotiations could go anywhere. No. I think the problem there's several problems that are.
Well, did you see the video? I think that the Americans are finally coming to that realization. It was Caroline. Is it Caroline or Caroline? Whatever, I don't care.
Caroline, but either one, yeah.
Love it, leave it, love it or leave it. But she was like, well, neither. It was very like, we're taking our toys and we're going home. It was like, well, neither side wants peace, and they have to want peace. And so if they don't want peace, then we're just throwing up our hands. That was it. I was like, thank God. Like
Russia does want peace, though. That's the wild part. Putin has been chasing safety this entire time. The entire point of
Ukraine. It was you that I talked to about the other day when they were like, it's just a clash of personality. And we were like, what?
Yeah. And it's like, but that's kind of what I mean, right? That's what, you can't say something like that and then believe you can end the war when you fundamentally just don't understand this kind of the politics built into it, the history built into it, the statecraft built into it in Trump's mind, because for him, everything is just very surface. He doesn't really tell the truth. He's a habitual liar. So it's almost like he's projecting a shadow onto somebody else thinking, well, they're not really telling me. All of this stuff is bullshit. We'll come to terms. Dude, you're missing the point. And Trump is coming to some realization, right? So in the Atlantic, they had this. In recent days, Trump had privately complained that his high-profile diplomacy has produced no results. Some officials close to the White House told the Atlantic magazine. He has directed, quote, some frustration, unquote, at Zelensky and the Europeans for being unrealistic in their demands, saying Ukraine would need to give up territory to end the conflict, sources claim. Quote, he just wants this over. It's almost doesn't matter how, a senior official said. Now, this goes in my view of Trump, right? I want this off my plate. I'm sick of this war. My MAGA people are bitching at me about it. I just want this gone, and I can't get these people to come together. The Europeans are being unrealistic, etc. But therein lies the rub. Trump doesn't get it. The Europeans aren't being unrealistic. What the Europeans want is for Russia to get bogged down and Ukraine to overstretch Russia, meaning we want you to choke on this pill and we will add guerrilla war fighters and all this other stuff in order to make your life miserable for the next 10 years. We want you to have to pull 2 million troops to effectively take over the entirety of Ukraine. That's what we want. If we can't beat you in Ukraine, we want to bog you down in Ukraine. Trump doesn't seem to get that. I don't know why, but he doesn't seem to quite get that part. The other part is that Donald Trump, as an American president, can't seem to accept Russian demands. He doesn't want to get screamed at. He always has the ability to walk, but the Europeans seem to know that he's not going to do it. And so his threats of walking doesn't really change the tenor of the Europeans. And the Europeans keep throwing out stuff that they know the Russians would never accept. And so for Trump, it's like, if I walk, they're going to scream at me and they're going to say, I lost the war for Ukraine, despite the fact that Ukraine was already losing the war.
Do you think he would care, though?
I think he does. Otherwise, he'd walk.
Okay.
Because that logic right there, what he just said, he just wants it over. Then just why not just effing walk? What did Steve Bannon say? Walk the fuck away.
Why does he want it over so bad? Just for the feather in his cap of ending it?
I think he wants feather in his cap. I think it's on his plate.
I think so too. I think it's one of these things where it's like, why can't I get this done? I should be able to get this done.
Yep. I'm an American president. I'm the most
powerful man in the world. Yeah, that we had Jinx. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that. I don't think it's like my heart bleeds for the Ukrainians. I don't think he gives a shit about Ukrainians.
No,
I think his thing is, I made a campaign promise. I want to keep my campaign promise. This is on my plate. I may say it's Biden's war all I want, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who's holding the bag for this. What Trump doesn't quite get, though, at least I don't think so, is that whether you walk and they blame you for losing the war, or whether the Russians just win it outright on the battlefield, they will still blame you for losing the war. Both of those cases are the same. With one, you could at the very least say this was Joe Biden's war, and you can still make that argument. In the other case, oh, that's your war, especially if it goes on for another year or two. Give me your thoughts about that. Do you think I'm being too generous to Trump? Well, just give me your thoughts about it in general.
I think you're often too generous to Trump, but
do you?
Yeah, I think for this war, the objective right now is, again, I keep iterating this, but is to get the public sector out of this war. No more aid packages, no more government, no more weapons sale, no more government weapons packages, none of that. Privatize this war. He's said it more than once. I think the most recent video was, we're not paying for this anymore. The Europeans are paying for it. And so I think that you're right about that, wanting to be the feather in his cap, because there's no other reason for him to really want to end this war. Maybe the facade of it. I mean, he's already said he's not ruling out sending mercenaries there. So what part of the war is he planning on ending? I'm just not. We
already have mercenaries there.
Well, he meant as like officially, like in a like
policy.
Not policy, but like the government knows about it in this instance. Like we don't know about the mercenaries in Ukraine right now.
But we have mercenaries, we have CIA, we've been training mercenaries. I mean, I had John Kiriakou on the show and I was like, John, what are the CIA doing in Ukraine? Because I was fascinated by that, right? It's like on a day-to-day basis. What the
Americans want to see is that they're no longer paying for the war in Ukraine. And if Trump says we will keeping troops out of Ukraine by putting mercenaries on the ground, then the Americans will say, great, what a great president. He's keeping my kids out of harm's way.
I don't think Americans would say that.
Yeah, they would. That's why they'll put mercenaries there. Same thing with Gaza. Those guys are in there. Those guys are mercenaries.
Oh, I so disagree with you on this one, Sarah.
Well, then why do American people not care about the ones in Gaza?
Well, let's go to Russia first.
Okay.
I think for the MAGA supporters, let's say like a Tucker Carlson, what is her name? God, what is her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. If we think of them as legit MAGA, like this is the standard, of MAGA. I don't mean the sycophants and the cultists. The sycophants will agree with anything Trump said. Trump could fart in their face and they'd be like, "Oh, this smells so good, sir. This is fantastic. It smells like roses." But I'm talking about true MAGA, who actually believes in this tenet of America first. They want out. They don't want to be in these wars. Their entire premise is, why are we still there? Whether it's troops, mercenaries, or anything else, why are we there? And to the point of mercenaries, we've already been training mercenaries. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. The CIA is there right now training mercenaries with the idea that at some point those mercenaries are going to enter Ukraine in order to fight a guerrilla war. So we're already doing that. We're already doing it. As for Gaza, Gaza's different, I think. I don't know why, but it feels different to me.
Why? There's supposed to be another private military company, private military company.
I have to think about that. But there's
the guys that are in Gaza right now have been to Ukraine. A lot of them. There's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah. It just feels different. I don't know if it's because maybe it's because Gaza's not really a war. It's an extermination. There's a difference. Like Ukraine and Russia were two militaries going at each other. Gaza wasn't two militaries. I mean, Hamas is not a military. It's just a resistance group. Hezbollah is not a military. It's a resistance group. And so it's almost like you are exterminating a population under the claim that you're trying to get XYZ people. That feels different to me. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I'm not certain on this one. But I don't get the sense that MAGA and true MAGA are going to be okay with him even using mercenaries. And I don't even get the sense Trump would announce.
They don't have a choice. It's a private company. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why you say, I can't do anything about it. It's a private company.
Yeah, but that's a wink and a nod.
Right, MAGA doesn't care. You hear the delusions coming from these people? Yeah, they're like, Epstein's not real. Like, that's how far gone these people are.
But those are the cultists. Those are the cultists. That's what made the distinction between the cultists and actual people who cared about this whole "Make America Great Again." Meaning, you had some true believers.
Done. I don't think that there is a lot of that "Make America Great Again." There's America First, and then there's the cult. And the America First people are very confused. Very confused.
What do you mean? Give me an example.
They're orphans now. They don't know where to go. Who is America First? Thomas Massey, I guess. Like,
oh, I see. See, it's wild to me. I always feel like I represent a patriot, but that's not the way I get categorized. Like I've had videos where somebody says, "I can't believe you hate America this much." And it's like, dude, your country is run by sociopaths. How are you bitching at me for pointing out to the fact that there's a fire? It feels that way. It's like the Israel stuff is traitorous. The idea that we're putting all of this money into these wars is outrageous. We should be investing that stuff into the U.S. Trump got elected saying he was going to do X, Y, Z. I'm not, Trump deranged for pointing out that he failed in those tasks and he's lying through his teeth about the other parts. Like, I don't know. I get put in a weird space. I understand how they feel to feel like you don't have a political home. I don't know. They just focus on what's right. But yeah, they're cultists. I agree. There are people Trump could shoot somebody on, Boulevard, and they'll say, clean murder. Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your story? I was pointing that out. I just want to get your take on it. Because for me, he's
thinking, because I mean, I really don't know a lot of MAGA in real life. Most of my in real life people are either apolitical or are more centrist. But I think that the MAGA thing has fallen apart completely. You have the hardliners like Laura Loomer, and then you have kind of these people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who are sort of screaming into a void in a way. She's really only talking to the constituents. No one else outside of us is even hearing her.
Yeah.
It's all very kind of convoluted and very messy. I don't know. We have JD Vance saying that he's ready to take over as president.
I saw that. Oh, I saw that. Peter Thiel's guy effectively taking over as president. Yeah. I have a few in my audience, and they would say, I regret the vote. They would say, I thought Trump was going to be different.
I've met a few,
heard about it.
yeah. They're like
Yeah.
ashamed almost.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump, especially in the first term, had the ability to do whatever he wanted. I mean,
Yeah.
according to him, he's like, I'm untethered. And it was this tiny kernel of hope in me, kind of like the Grinch's heart before it grew, that thought, hey, maybe he will raise minimum wage to $10. Why not? I mean, he could do it. The Republicans will back him on it. Why wouldn't he do X or Y or Z? And then, of course, he went hard to the right and didn't do any of that stuff. So I had no illusions about the second term. And I was like, this is going to be a disaster. You can't put somebody this comically stupid in office. This is like idiocy, idiocracy. But here we are. And we have 3 more years, no less.
Maybe. We don't know. I mean, he disappeared for like 24 hours and everybody thought he was dead. So I don't think we've got 3 years. He also looks like he's falling apart, like literally, like his like skin is falling off of him or something. He literally looks like he's falling apart. You know that movie? You ever see the movie Death Becomes Her?
Yes.
And like body part. That's what it's like that. It reminds me of that. Like his skin is just deteriorating on his body. It's so gross.
Well, the first year or the first term, he got off unscathed. Like if you look at Obama before and Obama after, big change.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
look at Bill Clinton before, Bill Clinton after, big change. Like it weighs on a man. And Trump looked like the first time around, he was like, okay, well, he just didn't bother him. This time is different.
Oh,
I
he
agree.
looks bad.
Yeah.
He looks bad. Even from January to now, he looks bad and shaky and almost like paranoid or like just off. Like I've
It's too
watched
much.
interviews and I'm like, he doesn't look like he's doing well under like all the pressure. The
weight
interview
of it.
after the Putin meeting, I was like, are you okay, sir? Like,
You may not be.
I don't ever like to assume anything, but he doesn't seem like the Trump from 2016. Maybe that's also how some of MAGA feels. It's just not the same guy. I feel like his goals have changed to kind of securing a legacy or something, like a monetary legacy, not a political legacy. They've got all these crypto ventures set up and this kind of interesting intertwining of the private sector and the government, and that's like it's very despotic, and I don't know, man. It's very weird, very incestual, not in the sexual sense, but like it's just all like. It was funny because the other day people were asking me, how are your diplomats chosen? Like, why do you keep sending us retards? And like, it wasn't like an ambassador. It was like the envoy and then a couple other like spokespeople, like just diplomatic people.
Yeah.
And I was like, these people grow up in NGOs. Like this is all just family. This is a family affair now. In the beginning, it was, guys from Harvard, or they go out and recruit, or, whatever through your frat brother, or now it's literally like my dad got me this job and because they were asking me about a specific person. And I was like, watch, I bet you this person worked for an NGO. Yeah. It was the girl from Lebanon that was saying, the Hezbollah is pathetic. So I said, I looked her up. Where did she work? USAID in Iraq. It's like clockwork. It's all like it's just like a revolving door, and it goes for all branches. That was just one example. It's everywhere, in the Senate, in the House, in the pages, in the assistants, in the aides. Everything is just who you know, who you've had sex with, and who gave birth to you. It's literally that's it.
It's like who came out of your vagina. That's the person.
Well, yeah, because a lot of it is like who's dad, like Tucker Carlson. Daddy, like a lot of these people are,
and his daddy was a spook, apparently. Yep. His daddy was a spook. Yeah, you're right. It's a degeneration of a political system. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
No,
it's not the way it's supposed to work.
It's lazy.
Excuse me. Do your story. What's your story? Oh, you said Venezuela.
Oh yeah, Venezuela. That's my last thing. So we've got these boats going down to Venezuela. Right now, I believe the USS Samson has just is south of Panama, so it's not through the canal. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ships and 1 nuclear sub. The USS Lake Erie has now joined the expanding U.S. fleet in the Caribbean. That was about as of an hour ago. At least 8 American warships, including the USS Iwo Jima, San Antonio, Newport News, are deployed across Southcom area of operations. Together, these vessels represent 12% of the entire Navy currently at sea. What do you think is
that is so bizarre to me because
Why?
I don't know how many men. For one, how many men do they have? There's that.
Up to 5,000? Oh, you mean the ships?
Yeah, so 5,000 men
About
is not going to be able to take over.
5,000 Marines, I think, tops right now.
Yeah, 5,000 Marines is not going to be able to take over Venezuela. And if you're trying to bomb Venezuela, okay, maybe you have the power to do that. I don't know how you take it over with 5,000 men, though, unless you have internal division or mercenaries inside the country that can do some of the action for you, in which case to create a destabilization. They are doing all of this under the pretext of drugs, quote unquote.
Right. But did you see the video? It was Caroline again, and they were like, "What has Donald Trump ruled out airstrikes on Venezuela?" And she flat out was like, "No, Donald Trump will use any and all." Yep, there you go. These people are crazy.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, well, there are a few things. There's a belief. I haven't seen any evidence for this, but there's a belief that Russia may have put Oreshniks.
Yes, that came out
in Venezuela.
Yeah.
There's also a belief that they might have beefed up their military. Now, again, I don't have any evidence for this. This is just rumor at this point. There's also the issue of the oil that's under Venezuela. When the United States was going after Venezuela the first time around, they were trying to crash their economy, kind of the way they were crashing Syria's economy by stealing the oil. The economy has picked up with the assistance of China, Russia, et cetera, at this point, with the relationships that they've been making. They have signed new contracts, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with China on the oil. And so Venezuela is getting to the point where they're going to be able to exploit their resources with the help of international actors associated with BRICS. I would imagine that if you are the United States and you want to get your hands on that oil, as you've wanted to do for a very long time, you've wanted to overthrow that government, which you've wanted to do for a very long time. I mean, what is his name? The one before Maduro.
Chavez?
Chavez, yeah. If you remember, they tried to get Chavez.
Many times.
They were at the point of putting a bullet in him.
Yeah.
And there was so much mass uprising that the overthrow failed.
Yep.
So they've been after Venezuela for a very long time. They put a $50 million bounty on Maduro's head. Like, all of this is play acting. I mean, this is the Juan Guaido stuff, right? Well, Juan Guaido is now the president of Venezuela. Okay, dude, just stop. Just stop. Like, it's
fun,
silly.
though. Remember, the memes were great.
The memes were great, but it's childish, sadistic, sinister. It's all of these negative things. This is kind of my point about the U.S. collapsing. If the U.S. collapsed, Venezuela would be a much better country because they wouldn't have this tariff and sanction pressure against it, trying to destroy the economy in order to get the people to basically create havoc and chaos.
I have a really good chart, but you can see that once they were up, and then the Obama sanctions, and it just crashes, boom, right down to the floor. And it's like, how can you look at any of this and then believe that, oh, it's Maduro, he's a communist dictator, he's starving the people, doing what? Like,
and they would say, this is just socialism. This is the way socialism works. It never works. And you're like, dude, are you kidding me now?
And they're still a net exporter for energy.
Yeah. So it could be, I got to be honest, I don't know. I mean, unless they're talking about bombing Venezuela with boats offshore, it doesn't seem like you have enough power.
They don't have any fighter jets or anything. If they bombed with the boats, that would be obscene. Like, if they
I don't know what they're doing.
Because they have missile carriers, but like that would be insane. But you know what? Let's look at everything holistically. This week we today, or will they confirm today? But Thursday we watched Israel take out an entire government. Why wouldn't the United States? half the time I feel like Israel's doing stuff to make sure that they can do it again later, or someone else can. It's always about setting a precedent, isn't it? Remember in the beginning of the war, we argued for days and days and days over whether they bombed a parking lot of a hospital. Now they just bomb it right on video and say, oh, we thought we saw a camera. Sorry, guys. We'll investigate it. We'll figure it out later. Everything's about setting a precedent and creating some sort of manufactured consent. So I get a little bit freaked out when I see, Israel take out an entire cabinet and a prime minister, and then I've got a whole fleet of destroyers off the coast of Venezuela, and the Iranians acting kind of silly. So
I mean, the issue is impunity. Like, if you just sit there and ask the question, can we get away with it? If the answer is yes, and you say, what are they going to do if we do it?
I don't know that it would cause a war with anybody. Maybe China or Russia might react, but would they really? I doubt it. If they didn't react to Iran, why would they react to Venezuela?
Yeah, and Venezuela is by itself. I mean, granted, the cities or the states in Latin America would take issue, but take issue to what degree?
Maybe Colombia might say something. Chile might say something, but other than that, that would be it.
They'll say something.
Yeah, they'll say something.
Strongly worded letter. It's like, we didn't like the fact that you bombed
the UN, right? They'll go talk to the UN, who, by the way, that's another story that we're running a little bit out of time, but the UN is now being we knew this was also the point of the Israeli thing. They're subverting and destroying the UN, right? So what happens? Saudi Arabia plans this wonderful, wonderful vote on the two-state delusion, solution, whatever you want to call it. And then thank you so much. The visas are revoked. And I'm like, seriously? And you want to know why you know why they're revoked, but for the listeners, they're revoked because they won't call Hamas terrorists. And literally, they said because they won't stop talking about a two-state solution. That's literally what the General Assembly is for, to discuss the two-state solution. So they're banned from the General Assembly to discuss the two-state solution because they keep talking about a two-state solution. That should tell you everything you need to know about the United States and Trump, because Trump revoked them.
Yeah.
The State Department did it at his behest.
Just to be clear, I don't like Mahmoud Abbas. I think he's...
Me neither. No. Me neither. No.
He is a collaborator at best, but he still has the right to speak. And the entire point of the UN is to have these places with this open forum for you to be able to make that case, make that speech, etc. It shouldn't matter that the home state doesn't necessarily like the person. That's not really the standard. That was never the standard. So yeah, I agree with you. But will they have the temerity, the gall, the backbone to get up and all go to Switzerland, Sweden, or some of Geneva in order to do the UN properly? Meaning, will these states express their outrage by having that forum in Geneva like they did once before when the US did this last time? I don't know. Like, unless the stuff has consequences, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're in a marriage and your wife complains constantly, just complains, and you do whatever you want to do, and you just have to deal with the complaints, and she's not leaving, your behavior is not going to change. It's that. It's like all of these people can send strongly worded letters. So what? They can complain. They can be on TV. Oh, we don't like the fact that they did this. Again, so what? What are you going to do? This stuff works on leverage. And unfortunately, they've gotten so accustomed to not exerting any. I don't even know what the point of the UN is at this point. Like, we watched Iran get attacked brazenly without any reason or rationale for it. What did the UN do? We're watching a genocide take place. What is the UN doing? And yeah, you can point to other crises around the globe, but I guess my point is, what is the purpose of the United Nations if they don't have the capability of acting when something is going on around the world?
They can't even get their speakers to the dais.
Exactly.
That's exactly why he did it, was to show us, like, you guys think you can play around, Saudi and the EU? Well, watch this. I'm really the head bitch in charge. That's what he's saying. I'm the boss. Like, you guys thought you were going to get away with this? We oppose a two-state solution. And look, now I'm putting the kibosh on it completely. I'm the boss.
And I don't even see what's the point of him blocking this, since
Right, because it has
this
no
is a shiny
political
object.
weight regardless.
Yeah, it's a shiny object. I mean, how do you get a two-state solution when they're exterminating the population? And simultaneously, with Trump saying we're going to evict these people based on Netanyahu's model. How do you get a two-state solution with that? Like, what's the point in even doing that? Like Saudis, Egyptians, all of these groups. I mean, these groups have been quislings of the U.S. government and have sat there and watched this take place on their own terms. And yes, I know I'm saying this as an American that is completely culpable for the crimes that my government is effectively committing. That has nothing to do, though, with opposition to those crimes, which there should be by the governments in the region if they gave a shit, which, let's be honest, they don't. They care about making deals with Israel. So it's unfortunate. There was a huge kerfuffle on my channel the other day that was complicated to navigate. One guest attacked another guest, like came on after and just slammed, just went plowed into him. That is awkward. That is very awkward. Because it's one thing if it's like, I disagree with what the person said. It's another thing where you just go full barrels, like this guy's an enemy and I'm just going after an enemy. And what the conversation ended up being was Dimitri and I had this conversation about China and Russia needing to do more for Gaza. One of my guests, KJ, didn't like that argument. And I think he felt like we were picking on China, which we weren't. We feel that way about all of these governments. And China, of all of these governments, have less culpability than anybody else. It's just this notion of the world is watching on social media, kids being shot carrying flour. That's astonishing. And you can watch that video every day, like with a new child, a new woman, a new old man. You're watching people drop from starvation. That is an astonishing thing to watch. It's not like the Nazis, where the Soviets find a camp. It's not that. It's on TV for any and everybody to see all of these crimes listed out and hear the things that these people are saying out of their mouth. And so our thing was like, governments need to get involved. KJ's argument was more about international law. And my point of view is there's no such thing as international law. It's being flagrantly violated in a way that effectively destroys it. And if countries are going to hide behind international law, then that's just because they don't want to get involved. They're realists. Dimitri's point was other countries should get involved in some way. Stop the oil flow, stop trading with them, stop working with them, stop doing any of this stuff. But they don't do it. They don't. It sucks. It sucks. It fucks up your point of view as a human being on some level. Like the fact that this stuff can exist.
Well,
by the way, give me your take on that. Should other governments get involved? Give me your take on that.
Should other governments get involved? To what extent? We would have to look at it relative to what they are, right? Yeah. Or, everything would have to be approached on a case-by-case basis. But I think what's the most important lesson to take from all of this is not only that, but that we live in a time of anarchy, that all of these liberal institutions that we were told were in place were never really there to do anything. That's kind of sickening. And I think people need to realize that, that's why we need multipolarity, because it instills sovereignty economically and culturally into a country so they can make their own decisions. But I think that people are going to see very dark times in the near future, where we descend into this sort of Westphalian anarchy, where the divides become much more stark because the institutions that were supposed to place us all sort of on equalish footing are being shown as a facade. So it's becoming like this every man for himself sort of thing.
Can you have liberal institutions with a hegemon?
If the hegemon doesn't enforce them, then no. And that's the thing. Like the hegemon, if you are going to be the hegemon, then you have the responsibility to uphold these liberal institutions. You are basically the head of them. And that's how the United States was really seen, as the head of NATO, one of the heads, if not the head of the United Nations. And there even people would argue they're the head of the EU. The EU is a American Anglo endeavor. The Anglos left, but That was America that pushed the EU because they wanted a full economic zone that they could take advantage of. So, you know, and if the hegemon is not going to uphold the ICC and the ICJ, I mean, the hegemon's not even a signatory to those agreements. So it's like, if they're only worth as much as the people that support them.
Agreed.
Who is enforcing these mechanisms? And you can't, right? Because the West has politicized them for so long that when it was time, there's nothing they can enforce, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the same thing with the UN. They used the UN as a cudgel to beat down the Arab nations, to beat down the Palestinians, to make sure they would never have a state, to make sure they would never have the right to return home. The UN failed on that on all fronts, and some would say purposely, and the Israelis used that to their advantage and whatnot. And now they have the audacity to say, we're done with this plaything. Now you don't get to use the mechanisms that we put in place to actually like function in the way that they should. We're just going to yank the carpet out from underneath you. And so that's where we're at. And you even have most of MAGA, especially the cultists, are saying, get out of the UN. The UN's pointless. The UN was our thing. If the UN is pointless and it's ruined, that's our fault. That's why it's in New York City. It's ours. Like, I don't understand this. Or NATO's a big waste of money. Then that's our fault. We're in charge of NATO. What are you talking about? Like, it's just, it's a huge failure. But yes, and that's important. I'm glad you asked the question about the hegemon, because you're only as good as the hegemon. And if you have only one hegemon, then you have one single point of failure. And we're watching that right now as the United States and its alt account Israel start to collapse. All of the liberal institutions are coming down with them.
Yeah, agreed.
That was a good question. You got me on a little bit of a tangent.
Well, it's a philosophical one. I mean, you're only as good as your hegemon. Like, meaning, if the U.S. goes into Iraq, kills 1 million Iraqis, who's the Leviathan that imparts cost to the hegemon in that case? Nobody.
God.
God doesn't get involved.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you have these institutions? Like, you would almost have to have this kind of political formality or this ideological rigor that goes around the planet of institutions, governance, historical context, and those type of things. We don't have any of those things. As you point out, you know, we are the ones who wanted the United Nations. We just had a world war.
It was our invention.
Yeah. What was it called? The
League of Nations.
League of Nations. And then that failed under Woodrow Wilson, but eventually became the United Nations. Right. Yeah, we wanted this stuff. That's what makes us so bad.
But that's also the cycle of things, you know. We were in a certain sort of system of empire. That system collapsed. The pendulum swings. Everybody wants liberalism. We get all these crazy liberal institutions, right? We go through 100 years. Well, that's exaggerating, but it's 60, 80 years of liberalism. Now the pendulum, now we're coming to a breaking point. We're going into a very large conflict, and the pendulum will swing again. And I think it's going to swing back to nationalism or ethnocentrism, which means a lot more wars. But I do think that that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, because
that's the pendulum swings from liberalism. You get back into this sort of nationalistic, a little bit more isolationist, and then multipolarity becomes more of a possibility. But things have to explode first, and they're really on that way. Have you looked at even sociologically, Europe is about to explode. The UK is almost on fire, and so it's all these sort of indications that things are we're getting to a breaking point.
France needs money for the IMF.
Estonia just pledged up to the Ukraine, and then goes, but we'll have to take out a $3.6 billion loan from the EU to do it.
That's astonishing, right? Like, how do you do that? That blows my mind. Like, the Trump administration is out here bragging, Europe is paying for it all. Europe is paying for it all. It's all on them. It's all on them. And then says, we are selling them weapons, which are, by the way, typically overpriced.
Way overpriced.
Yeah, way overpriced. And on top of being overpriced, we're adding a 10% markup just for shits and giggles.
Shits and gigs, yep.
And they are bragging. Like, it's not even like, look at what we did. How stupid it is. It's not that. It's, we think so lowly of you. that we will tell you that we are overcharging you for these items. That's mind-blowing. And then if you rando European, rando German, hear that. And then you hear America saying, hey, you guys have been living too high off the hog. So we need to cut your social services because, Ukraine needs more money and weapons. That's outrageous. Your industries are collapsing. I mean, you can look at the German auto industry. All of those industries have been going up in smoke. All of those people have been losing their jobs. They're in recession again. And you have all of these countries that are still pledging like $100 billion in weapons, despite their own economies going up in smoke. That is an amazing thing. Now, the catch becomes, how long can Europe do that? That's the catch. How long can America do what America is doing right now? That's the catch. If America collapses in 10 years, like financially, you have a new norm. I don't know if we go back into this just pure nationalism, maybe. I think we need something else. There has to be something else better than this. Like this pendulum can't just be this pendulum, especially when you get this kind of technological advantage that you can utilize. We have to organize some other way. This shit doesn't work. I know that's pretty egalitarian, but I think it's true.
Well, we need something. Something has to give.
Yeah.
I hope people are watching the United States and understand that this is what happens in late stage capitalism, where the empire just starts to just claw at everything around it. Venezuela, Gaza, Syria, Iran, Taiwan. They do not care. This is late stage capitalism. Not even that, you're not here, but the commodification of everything is just getting obscene. Like, we're commodifying our children. They're commodifying everything. Like, they've commodified our medical records for money to go back into the government. This is so insane. The commodification of literally everything, the gig economy. This is late stage capitalism. It's falling in on itself. You know that they're selling lots of land to build rent. You build a home on it that you're going to rent from Zillow. Like, you will own nothing here anymore.
Yeah. Again, this is their way of trying to make as much cash as possible. It's just, it sucks. It's what do you call it? A wealth pump, where you extract wealth from the working class and you just keep extracting. So rents go up. You find ways. I was with a company during my time as a software engineer, and I am sitting in a meeting. They made a product, because we used to do software in shop in this particular place. I'm not going to name the place in Richmond. But they made a product. They made an app. And nobody was using it because it sucked. And so then they were like, well, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we just not tell people about it, add it to our main product, and increase the price of the main product? Now, I'm sitting in a meeting like, whoa, is that right? Like, because you've effectively told everybody in this meeting that the product is unliked, unwanted. And so you're going to force it on people, knowing people aren't going to use it, but you're going to charge them for it anyway. They were like, who let the socialists in the room? And I'm like, but my point is legit. You guys are adding something to people that they wouldn't buy on a free thing. And finally the boss pops up and was like, hey, wait, is this right? Is this right? He was like just out of it. He wasn't even paying attention until he heard that part. In which case they calmed them down and say, yeah, everything is good. In which they did. Anyway, they went about with it. That's our system. I mean, that it sucks, but it's not like they're doing it for you. It's how can we make as much cash as possible? That is my assumption on this stuff. Like healthcare. You have cancer, pay me. Hey, you want to get a good education? Give me $50,000 a year if you want that good education. This is your ticket. Otherwise, you're just going to be poor and alone, eating bonbons. Here's your ticket. Pay me $50,000. Like, this stuff is outrageous. You're putting that much money on the back of a child, or for that matter, for the medical stuff, on people who are already in dire straits. And it's something that affects all of us. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. It sucks. It sucks. I agree. Commodification of everything. And now that it's online, oh God, think of all of the stuff and the data we put online that can be used for economic ends. I will tell you, I was pretty good with the database. If I had your income, age, race, weight, etc., I can find all sorts of stuff about you, all sorts of things that I can offer you, all sorts of things that I can mismatch the data. You can get information on what that stuff means in practice in regards to the likelihood of a person wanting. So your data is very valuable. It's very valuable. And companies sell that stuff again, commodification of even that. I don't know a way out of that, though. That's the rub.
Well, Putin's in China, so maybe they'll figure out that he just landed. I just saw the live feed, so maybe they'll come together and save us all. I don't think they'll save us, but maybe they'll at least save themselves.
Modi is going to be there also, right? Modi.
They're all going, bro. They're all going. And that's why I keep on trolling people like, I told you he was the best thing for multipolarity. He brought India and China back together. Xi, that's another story that happened this week. I will be much better next week. And now that I know how this is sort of rolling, but that also happened this week. In a letter from Xi to his counterpart, I can't remember her name. It's a female. He wrote her a letter saying the tango between the dragon and the tiger or the elephant begins. China wants to rekindle relations, work out this border issue, and like keep it moving. They are ready to. Trump has done the unthinkable. He's done the absolute impossible. You thought that the impossible was getting Armenia and Azerbaijan in a treaty, but the impossible was bringing Modi to China, and he succeeded in that. The big deal. This is the first time Modi's been to China in 7 years.
Is it? Yeah, he effed up. Well, why do you think that, like, this goes to the whole hubris thing, right? Like, any good sense would say India is the best friend that you have in BRICS. They want to play both sides. Work with them to do that, because you may be able to destabilize this
Zero
organization.
foresight, zero pragmatism. You will always get that out of the Americans, where you see these civilization states, especially India and China, to sort of sit back and have a 50-year, 100-year, and 200-year plan. The United States is like, we got to get to the midterms. How do we get to the midterms? Do you know what I mean? And that's why you see this sort of schizoid going up against this sort of calm and collected. Like, what are you doing?
But is it just hubris? Like, I'm Donald Trump. I'm the president. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a Star Trek example. So, Christopher Pike. I don't know if you've ever watched Strange New Worlds. Christopher Pike, captain of the ship, he goes down because he needs to get what's called a quote-unquote time crystal. You can ignore these parts, but it gives context. A time crystal. And getting the time crystal, when you touch it, it tells you your future. Now, anybody who watched Trek knows Pike's future, but Pike as a character doesn't know his future. He touches it and he sees himself getting effectively burned alive. Like, he lives, but he's in this little wheelchair where you have to hit a button for yes or no because he can't. He's all fucked up. Pike recoils, falls back, and is terrified, complete panic. And he is told, if you take the crystal, that's your fate. Meaning, you can take it, but you're stuck with that particular fate if you take it. Pike, freaked out, sweaty, he composes himself. He said, I am a starship captain. It is my responsibility. And he takes it. In that moment, Pike was more than a man. Because any random man would have said, I'm getting the F out of here. That's not going to be my future. I'm not going to get burned alive, etc. Meaning, the man is exceeded by the office. And so you may have a president that thinks of himself as a president as opposed to a human being working with another human being for the best interest of so-and-so. But instead, it's, I need to seem presidential. I need to seem strong. I need to seem superior to the Indians in this case. So instead of me just working with Modi like a person, I'm going to be the bully. And I'm going to try to bully him like I bullied all of these other countries. And without knowing the history of India, the whole record of colonialism, all of that stuff, he blunders. And Modi tells him to fuck off. And the friend that you would have had goes to China, goes to Russia, is going to go to all of these Asian countries and make deals with them in order to stop dealing with you. India is going to be burning Trump in effigy, which I think they did. They're going to be buying Indian products more. Like, it's a disaster. Like he just blundered into it because of his own ego and hubris. It's just wild to me. Yeah. And he doesn't seem to be changing. He doesn't seem to be changing. Do you think they're going to be able to mend fences?
No.
Really? You're cynical, somebody. You know that?
Well, I know you're going to say yes, so I have to balance it out.
Why are they not going to be able to mend fences?
Because Trump's just not like that. You're talking about
No,
Trump?
no, not between Trump. I mean, between India and China.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do. And I think that's because of pragmatism. I think because they'll see the overall goal. Plus, they have Putin there on site. And, it'll be a three-way conversation. And Kim is there. So, I mean, this is a very, very important visit with very important conversations. I do think they'll be able to mend fences. There's been progress in those border talks for a very long time. I think Tibet might be a little bit of a sensitive issue, some of the other stuff, but I really think that this stuff can be worked out. And that means that if that can be worked out, then that the ties between Israel and India and Pakistan can maybe start to thaw a little bit. Pakistan is planning on meeting with Armenia. So it's all very interesting how things are happening. India is a staunch ally of Armenia. China backs Pakistan. Do you see what's happening? This block is forming. We get Armenia to get out of this retarded deal with Trump, which isn't even binding. Like, it's all, you can see this sort of block forming, this Eastern bloc. I hate to call it that, but I do think that they'll mend fences because it's more important. That mending fences is or the overall goal is much more important than the border dispute. The border will be there forever.
Do you think they see themselves when we look at these issues like Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, India, et cetera, we often look at them in this kind of larger, let's say, future history context, like almost in a strategic sense, almost like if you were looking down at a board and you're saying, okay, you all need to work together because they're coming for your life and you need to know that. And so I get the nationalism stuff, but there are things that exceed nationalism, which is your own self-interest, which is served by being together. Do you think they see it in those terms? I mean, oftentimes these petty disputes seem to get in the way of a lot of that stuff. And Modi got his wake-up call with the tariffs, but if it wasn't for that, Modi would still be trying to play both sides.
I think that the Modi got his wake-up call with the war, when that war did not go well for India. And all Trump wanted to do in the end was get a Nobel Peace Prize off it. And that rubbed the Indians the very wrong way. And Trump lied about them and said that they wanted to nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. And they came right out and said, no, we did not. No, we didn't. And the Pakistanis were like, we did. So that's when it really started. And, they were kind of criticizing them about the oil, kind of poking the bear. But they tried to start off the relations on the very right foot. Remember, they sent J.D. Vance and Usha and baby Vivek over there. First thing, they ran right over India to make sure that those relations were good. So it's very interesting.
There are all these pictures with Trump hugging Modi, Modi hugging Trump, and all this stuff. And I guess Modi felt blindsided.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently,
India we talked about it on Thursday. India has a very strong policy of trying to cultivate as many allies as they can, and not even in a slick way. It's in a friendly way. They're very bizarre in their foreign policy, but that's just how they are. And that all you have to do is kind of not rock the boat a bunch, and India's fine with it. And I'm actually impressed to see India say, enough is enough. We'll get our oil from wherever the hell we want. Not only that, but now we're going to China.
Give Trump the Peace Prize.
Give him the Peace Prize. Give him the Multipolarity Prize. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the possible. I am so happy to see that myself. I just, one of my guests from India, he hit me up. He was like, Modi's going to China. He was like, they're mending fences. So no, this is great. I find this to be really good. Apparently Modi didn't take Trump phone calls, which is, good outfit for Modi. He was like, I just imagine him looking at the phone and he's like, he's calling again. He's calling again. I know that's not the way it is, but it's like an ex-girlfriend that you don't want to talk to. It's like, will you stop calling me? I don't know what Trump thinks he's going to get out of Modi with a phone call after hitting his country with 50% tariffs that is trying to effectively destroy the economy of this country and wanting to open his country to these agricultural products from America that would, again, destroy the Indian economy. Like, Trump is asking for things. Why do you think he does that? Like, I think it's a personality flaw. I think it's weakness, frankly. If you notice, Trump has a tendency to want to humiliate world leaders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a businessman thing. It's a businessman thing, for sure.
Is that? I mean, because you could be a businessman and try to get a deal on equal
He's
terms.
always been known to be like that, like a big blowhard, very overbearing, and he just thinks that that's how he can function in the international arena, and you can't. There's diplomacy, and then there's business, and those are two different things. Very, very different.
But Trump has been able to get these people to kiss his ass.
Who?
They know how to sweeten him up. All of the European leaders.
They have no leverage.
Clean.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
I mean, you can even get
they can't even say no.
That's my point, though. Like, in many of these cases, Trump, for example, Ursula von der Leyen told her to get out the room when they were having their conversation. You don't lead anywhere, so get out. In another case, he brings her to the stage, humiliates her with a trade deal that is grotesque by any measure.
What's she going to do?
That's kind of my point. Usually diplomacy is more...
He doesn't know how to engage in diplomacy.
Yeah. Trump just has a way of highlighting uneven exchange to the American public in a way that humiliates other leaders.
But that's what the American public told him, that's what they like. And so he's going to keep doing it. Please clap sort of thing. Remember with Angela Merkel, they loved that. When they love all that crap.
That America in its declining state.
Do you not remember when they went after Zelensky and MAGA was, I voted for this. I voted for this. They love this.
I guess my thing is it because America's in decline? It knows it's in decline, whether it can acknowledge it or not. It knows life is getting harder. And you bring somebody up who tells you everything is great. The world is fine. The sun is shining. I just got this trade deal. Look how strong I am. Look how strong America is because we've humiliated this other world leader. Like, do you think that's what America ultimately wanted? And look, I know Democrats, they have not been a legitimate contender for anything. Like, honestly, I will tell you this. If the Democratic Party turned around and said, we're having a come to Jesus moment. We're being fully transparent. We hear you. We're going to do grassroots. We're going to allow all of these things. We're going to push for all of these items that you want. Now, the first hurdle would be trust. But the second hurdle will be, are they fulfilling their obligations? You could get a turn. I just don't see the Democrats doing it. So they're not a legitimate contender for Trump. Is that really what America wanted, or was there just no other alternative?
I don't think there's an alternative now.
Yeah. That sucks. That's morbid. That's legit morbid. Sarah, we have come to the end.
But we made it. So did my laptop. My laptop is about to die. But
is it?
Yeah.
I was looking at
you guys on Thursday morning
at 9:30 a.m.
And then Saturday, I will be a much better co-host. I promise.
You did fine. What do you mean?
Well, I would. Well, now I know the flow. I'll have some.
Well, my only thought was I would kind of like. God, I don't want to pull up another show. The Hill, or like the way Faultless was a little bit different, but kind of like I guess The Hill. Where
I would like. Well, I'll talk to you offline. But yep. But have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you. All right, guys. I'm going to, let me get the chats. We have chats.
Oh, yeah.
We have birthday wishes. So,
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jamarl, philosopher of philosophical wisdom. Thank you, philosophical wisdom. I appreciate that. Wandy USA, member for 2 months. Happy birthday, Jamarl. TYT is paying attention to MTG. I don't regret voting for Trump. Fair enough. Despite MAGA betrayal, he pulled an Obama.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Well,
good call, Christopher Newton. Good call. Yep, it's a just in case if you're on blocks for most. Yeah, probably.
Venezuela oil if Iran blocks Hormuz. Oh, that's a good point.
Mhm.
See, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Russia and China are more involved in it, meaning you have countries that are now more involved in our hemisphere. And if you look at China, there's this map, this great map that shows American influence, Chinese influence over the course of, let's say, 50 years. And Chinese influences all through Africa, all through South America, etc. We're waning in our influence. It could have something to do with that also. So I don't know. It's just weird. This doesn't seem to be the ability, like that battle group doesn't seem to be enough to take a country, but who knows? Wanda USA, most of the US presidents are related by blood. Really? Well, I know Dick Cheney and Obama were cousins. Did you know that? Sir?
No. About Dick Cheney and Obama? No.
Yeah. Apparently, Obama got one of those heredity tests. I don't mean cousins directly, but that they were genetically somewhere down the line related to one another. Go figure. Small world. Worm bat, pop it in here. What is this? Props for Sarah and Jamal. Sarah, I would tell you this before closing. You have really grown on this audience.
Oh, really?
The first, initially, I was looking at the chat like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? And I remember in one chat I said, if all of you leave and have one sub, Sarah will still be here with that one subscriber watching. And somewhere along the way, it became, Sarah is awesome. Sarah is great. Jamal, you're wrong. Sarah is right. Yeah, you've grown on them. So that's good. I appreciate that.
Like a cancer.
No, like I don't know, a loving fungus or something that doesn't kill, but it's life. All right, guys, I'm going to end this. I'm going to say like, I'm going to say share, I'm going to say subscribe. Oh, what is that, Oscar? For some reason, Oscar came in.
It's an alien.
Look at him. I miss my dogs. I legit miss my dogs. All right, guys, you be safe. And we have 4,073 people here.
Whoa.
4,084. 4,079. Yeah, 4,000.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's a damn good show. I got to be honest, I didn't expect that many people. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, but
then we'll do it again on next Saturday. We'll see you guys next Saturday. My laptop is going to die. I have to go. Bye. I love you guys. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye. All right, guys, close it off. You guys have a fantastic day. I'm going to end this. Sarah's fantastic. And we plan to do this every Saturday at the same time. Yeah. Who's a good boy? I know, right? I know. I miss my dog so much. I was watching this Instagram post, and they were talking about dogs like just doing wild shit, like eating, like the way they were eating food, stealing foods, and all this other stuff. And it's like, okay, for one, you guys have trained your dogs poorly, and two, if we weren't home, our dogs would do the same thing. They used to do the same thing, so it was good. I'm going to close this because despite it being my birthday, I have to repack and move to another location. I'm going to say this. I've appreciated all of you guys as my audience, and I thank you for being my audience. And I didn't know what to expect when coming back from the radio show. I didn't know if there was going to be an audience with me when I came back from the radio show. But the show, despite initial failures, grew relatively fast in the way that it expanded. I couldn't do that by myself. It took an audience that kind of be patient with my fuck ups as I kind of went through rebuilding this into something else. And I got to be honest, I still don't know what this is ultimately going to be. I feel like I need to do more, or I'm fucking up somewhere that I don't quite see it, like a blind spot. Oftentimes when you have a team, members on the team see things differently. When you're one person, it's one point of view, one thought process. But nevertheless, we move forward. This is, I guess, the start of my solar year, per se. If we're going birthdays. I just want to give you a thanks. You can support the content, PayPal, Patreon, Super Chats, memberships, buy me a coffee, stickers, all those things. You can like the video, you can share the video. All of those things help with the algorithm. But more to the point, I guess from my side, thank you. You guys have made the show what it is. You have a great audience. And I've been on some other shows where the people are lunatics. That is not you. And I don't say that just to say it. I watch your comments. I watch the things that people say. I watch the fights that you guys get into. And for the most part, I know those fights that you guys get into sometimes over the content that we're having, they're mild in comparison to some of the other channels that are racist, sexist, bigoted, just lunatics. Ultimately, there seems to be a humanitarian streak in this audience that I appreciate. And that I want to keep. And I think of it of some degree to be some reflection of myself, by kernels, sometimes by more and others. So I'm giving you my thank you. I'm giving you my thanks. I'm going to have a damn good show for you next week. Some of the slots are full. Ray McGovern is going to be on Monday. I'm going to hit Mark Sloboda. Hopefully he can join. I was going to get Alex Craner for 7 a.m. on Monday, but he came on Friday, so I'm going to have to find a 7 a.m. slot. Yeah, we're going to keep it moving. You guys have my thanks. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next week, same time, different physical place, but same esoteric place online. Have a good one, all. Be safe. Be kind to the degree that you could be crying. Yeah, I disagree with Craner, obviously. Look, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing with a guess. Otherwise, you just have yes men. I mean, I don't have this idea that Trump is playing 4-dimensional chess or 5-dimensional chess. I think what you see is what you get. A weak, ego, mendacious, hubris-filled man. And I say that because he requires adulation at every moment. Who the fuck requires adulation every moment? It's just weird. And the people around him knows exactly what he wants. So the sycophants give him exactly what he wants. You, sir, are a great man. You stopped 20 wars. You stopped 20 wars. You deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Just give it to him already. Give him this great man, our dear leader. Like it's shameful. It's ridiculous. It's so absurd. And yet it's what you get out of Trump and the people around him. It's like it's cartoonish even. Like you wouldn't even see it in a movie because nobody would believe it. And yet that is the way they effectively function around Trump. My point is that Craner is looking at this through a very particular lens and is creating a model. But I don't think his model is correct, nor do I think his model works. There are things that can't be explained in that model. If you are right, why is Trump shaking hand with the jihadists? If you are right, why doesn't Trump just walk from the Ukraine war? If you are right, why doesn't so-and-so? But Craner can make a coherent argument for that particular point of view and just make the point of saying, look, I don't know. There's a gap in my thinking on this, but this is the coherent way that I'm thinking about this. I do think he's right that the dollar may collapse or that the U.S. economy may collapse at some point, and that people are positioning themselves to deal with that reality, even though all of us are going to be hurt by it. That may be true. But this notion that a capitalist is fighting the quote unquote globalists, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy the model. I don't buy the theory. I don't buy the hypothesis. I think what you see is what you get. A rich, petty man who knows very little about the world. Whatever he knows about real estate, he went bankrupt X number of times, so put that in question marks. But it's functioning from this place of hubris. Hubris is not a survival trait. And in the context of trying to stop wars, hubris doesn't get you there. In the context of trying to quote unquote make peace, hubris doesn't get you there. And the fact that these tariffs were effectively revoked by a judge of the appellate court, it doesn't take effect yet. I think it takes effect in October if it doesn't go to the Supreme Court first. Then all of this stuff would have been for naught. You spent the first 3 months doing something that the court just told you was illegal. So, yeah, we have a different idea in mind. This is not a man fighting the globalists with certain negative consequences taking place around the globe. Donald Trump has every capability of ending the war in Ukraine. He could just walk. Donald Trump has every capability of ending the Palestinian conflict. He can just stop giving money to Israel, stop giving weapons, etc. He can do those things. Those are within his power. He just doesn't do those things. He can push Israel to do X or Y because Israel is a colony of America. And the moment that America asserts it, it becomes so. He doesn't do those things. I'm pointing out that this is not this man of peace or this man trying to do something for the larger American public. He's doing it for himself. The big, beautiful bill that's going to put money in his pocket, but cut your SNAP benefits or cut your Medicaid. How's it for you? The tariffs, that is the largest tax on the American public ever. And I could be wrong on ever, but fuck it, I'll go with it. That's on you. That's on you. You're paying that tax. Your products are going to be more expensive. Meaning he is materially making your life worse as he goes about setting fires around the globe. When he's attacked Iran, that's out the blue. Who's doing that for? He's not doing it for us. When he's shaking hands with a jihadist, a head chopper, a literal head chopper, who's apparently going to the UN. I chopped some heads in my youth, but I got arthritis with my chopping hands, so I stopped chopping heads. What's he doing that for? So, I get some people are into the MAGA stuff, and they have devoted themselves into believing and twisting themselves into pretzels. It's the spoon doesn't exist. It's not a spoon. It's not really a spoon. The spoon is not really there. There is no spoon. No, there's a spoon. There's no spoon. If you shape your perception, then you can bend the spoon. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. You have to accommodate that into whatever model you're coming up with in regards to trying to explain Trump. So, I love Alex Crane to death. And part of the reason I love him is because he gives me an opposition point of view. One that A, I may not have thought of. B, parts of it may be right. And C, it's interesting to give a coherent picture that is different than my own. I accept it, not just accept it. I like it. I don't know if you've noticed, I actually like pushing on my guests because it clarifies whatever we're talking about. So, I don't know. But yes, we have a different point of view on Trump. But that doesn't stop me from loving him as a guest. One iota. One iota. England invented the modern world. The U.S. is just an offshoot that isn't doing so well. That is true. Rashid, dude. That's true. After the Second World War, England was a fragile, broken empire. I'm sorry, the First World War. But they own what, like 51% of the globe? Some insane amount of the globe. When the Second World War hit, fractured, broke it in two. So yeah, agreed. All right. America suffer from superiority issues like Jews do. Yeah, they do. That's the issue. That's the issue. I mean, not just with America, Europeans in general. We're morally superior. We're ethically superior. Our financial system and economic system is superior. This is a garden, etc. How's that garden looking right now? How's that garden looking? With the UK no longer a first world country, and with many of those other countries losing economic capability because their garden apparently ran on Russian gas, and they didn't necessarily want to acknowledge that it ran on Russian. They say this stuff outside the context of reality. When Europe has gotten to the point where it goes to China and say, hey, you need to share your technological stuff with us. Really? Do they? When China did that, the U.S. said it was stealing. So let's stay with that. We're not doing it because that's stealing. Europe is being left behind. They're irrelevant as a landmass at this point, especially from the standpoint of military force, and even from the point of diplomatic might. And so it's like you went from being masters of the world to vassals, where you have to go and give tribute to the United States with Trump humiliating all of you, except for Maloney. Never you, Maloney. Never you, Maloney. All right. I'm going to end this because I'm rattling, and like I said, I am what's the word I'm looking for? Procrastinating because I don't want to fucking pack up. Every Western country has its levels of nonsense. Yeah, but that nonsense starts wars. Because that's that level of nonsense. What is my rule? Racist people don't see the world clearly. And when you're looking at the world through this jaded lens, you get it wrong. And the problem with getting it wrong is when you're talking to somebody, and you're not talking to that person as an individual that's equal to you. You're talking to them from this stature of bullshit that you have swirling around in your skull, like Kayla's, beautiful and dumb. Beautiful and dumb. Is it because of this exceptionalism thing? Maybe. Gorgeous, dumb as a box of rocks. So you have a hamster just going around the wheel. You can make deals with people if you're fair and honest with those people. You can. If you're dealing with equal exchange, if you're dealing with them earnestly as human beings, you can do that. If I'm dealing with you from a position of authority, oh, you can't do shit. For one, they don't accept your position of authority. Two, the position of authority is not real. It doesn't exist. You don't have any swords. Your economy is not up to snuff. There's nothing in the physical, tangible world to indicate that level of narcissism. It's just not. And so you end up in conflicts over and over and over. And then you run into daddy to back you up in those conflicts and save you. Why do you need daddy if you feel that strongly about whatever the hell you're talking about getting involved in? Right? Like, we can't be China. If we can't be Russia, how are we going to be China? I mean, Russia's such a smaller country, and China's a bigger country. And so I just don't understand how we're going to do that. It's like, Kayla, could you please just sit the fuck down and shut up? Please just sit down. All right. I am legitimately indignant. Like, share, subscribe. Sarah Bills is fantastic. She's going to make a great co-host. I think, we'll see. You only know over time. But so far, she's been great. Have a good one. Be safe. Be kind. To the degree that you can be kind. Some people are assholes. But try. Have a good one.